wherever you are. I'm blessed, and I haven't read my word in a while. So this is kind of like a renewing and refreshing to my spirit. Just to be touched by the word and what God says. A couple of months ago, I was very discontent with life, with circumstances, like not being favorable to my liking, and just feeling like things were falling apart. So I was very much in this state of discontentment and not really satisfied. Even though like I was speaking with God about it, talking with him, I was still feeling some type of way about it. But this morning I opened up to Matthew, the beatitudes, and how it talks about how blessed are we if we're poor, if we're persecuted, and whatnot, and the peacemakers. I'm not gonna read the whole section, but in my Bible, it talks about what that word blessed means. And it means makaroi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's the Greek word that translates blessed, and it means to be fully satisfied. And so, in the New Testament, the term is used for the joy that comes from our salvation. And this satisfaction is not the result of favorable circumstances in life. It comes only from being indwelt by Christ. Therefore, it would be wrong to translate makaroi as happy. I know in some other translations, it's like happy are those that are persecuted, happy are those. I know in other translations, it uses the word happy, but in the King James Version, it uses blessed. And it says it doesn't use the word happy because that word is connected with luck or favorable circumstances. And walking with Christ, our circumstances are not always going to be favorable or to our liking. We won't always have it like a straight path directly connected to our hopes and our own desires all the time. And so when I was in that season, I really couldn't see all the things around me that I could be blessed and having, grateful for. It was kind of like the negative was overshadowing me, and the dislikes, the discontentment was overshadowing me. But after reading this, I feel like in this season, it's like I stopped looking to those things that I was wanting and desiring and started focusing more on the Lord. And it's different because when we have our focus on the Lord, everything else falls in line, and it's peace associated with it because our focus is on him, not on our own satisfactions, not on our own things. And I think like coming to that realization, I think even in Psalms 23, it says, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. And that wanting, the things that we put above the Lord, the things that we are gravitating towards more than the Lord, it causes us to be outside of his spirit, outside of the peace, outside of the comfort, outside of him, and therefore we don't experience what God brings to the table, the peace, the joy, the satisfaction. I could say it's just a progressional thing. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to say this 2 months ago or 3, but I'm content. Like, it may not be to my liking, but I have a roof over my head, I have a job, food in the fridge, money in my account, and the things that like I would like to happen and change. Like, God will work it out. He doesn't put us in like everything great all the time. but he knows what we need. And for me, I needed his peace, and to stop running away from it, stop seeking those things above him, stop idolizing people and circumstances and fantasizing. Instead, just focusing on him. And I want to read I'm going to read a little bit more from the section that talks about like the word meaning blessed. It said, blessedness is not static, but progressive. So it's not like a one-time, one and done thing. Like I was saying, this progress depends on the fulfillment of the conditions set down in the beatitudes. The poor in spirit, the meek. I'm not going to read all of them, but the poor in this, the pure in heart, the ones that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, those that mourn, those that thirst after righteousness. It says that once we like attain all those conditions, and apparently like the persecution for righteousness is like one of the highest levels of like the blessedness. Once we go through all those stages and fulfill them all, it says we can rejoice and be glad because our reward is in Jesus. Our reward is in the kingdom of heaven. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna put a snippet of that section because it's really good. But it talks about also the pure in heart can only be acquired through the continuous cleansing that believers experience when they have fulfilled the previous conditions of blessedness. The purer a person becomes, the more clearly he can see God. I'm sorry, but yeah. It's like realizing like it'll all work out when we keep our focus. And sometimes that's easier said than done, but because life can be life. And we are blessed to know him and to be able to walk through life with peace, even in the craziness of the world. That's a blessing, because some people lose their peace because of where their focus is. Some people lose their peace because they don't have that anchor of Jesus. So it's blessed that we know him. And then lastly, I'm going to read Philippians 4:11. Not that I speak in respect of one, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. I feel like Paul, and then there's another verse. Oh, it's the chapter before. It's like he's saying not that he's already obtained it, but he continues to press forward to those things ahead, to the things that Jesus has for us, the peace, the promises. He presses towards him to receive those things. And it just draws a question, like, where is your focus? Where where has your focus been leading you to think on? To think on the things that are pure and the things that are of God, the things that bring you peace, or the things that take away your peace, like worrying about things and not trusting in God. And today, I even woke up with so much worry about a homework assignment, about getting things done, and not trusting God enough. But it's like we can trust Him in the small things too, in any circumstance, if we keep our focus. Because all He wants for us is to be in peace. And this video is getting long, but peace He leaves us. Not what the world brings, not what the promise brings, not what all these things bring, but what He brings, what He left with us, peace. And it can only be found in Him. So, that's my 2 cents. I'm done. Good night.